You don't know what's real or not. I posted a photo of me in Greece. I went to an AI platform and I said, put a picture of Hulk Hogan in this picture. And it did. And I posted it and everybody thought it was real.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, there's no way.
Yeah, I'm in Greece right now.
Okay, now you know it's fake. But
no,
they didn't believe it.
No.
So nothing is real.
Welcome to Money Market, a Bank of Tampa podcast. We highlight the businesses, expert business advice, the local economy, and points of interest in the Tampa Bay market. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and wherever you find all of your podcasts. To make sure you follow, like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend or colleague. I am your host, Owen LaFave, the Pinellas County Market President for the Bank of Tampa, Tampa Bay's oldest and largest community bank. In the event that you are listening to this, and you may notice some beeping in the background, we are in our St. Pete office today, and there is construction next door. Today's guest is Andy Glogower, is a wildly acclaimed Florida photographer. You may be familiar with the expression, "this is for the birds," because Andy is probably best known for his nature and wildlife work, especially for the striking images he's been able to capture of birds. However, his work is for anybody but the birds. In the past 3 years, Andy has been named twice Nature Photographer of the Year and runner-up by the Masters Photographers International Annual Photo Competition. For 5 consecutive years, he's been recognized as one of the top 10 photographers by the Florida Professional Photographers, and just recently received the FPP Florida degree of Photographic Excellence. I mean, that is quite the list of accomplishments. Andy, welcome to Money Market.
Thank you. You sure that's me?
And that is you.
Okay.
That is you. I know it's kind of weird sometimes to hear all those accolades, but no, that's really incredible.
Thank you.
I mean, besides the birds, which I think you're best known for, I mean, do you do events, weddings, portraits, families? You do a little bit of all. Are birds your favorite?
Yeah, birds are my favorite. They didn't start out that way. My kids were my first subjects that I pointed my camera at. My oldest daughter, she started dancing, and then I started.
I have a youngest daughter there too. I know.
Yeah,
well.
Does she dance too?
She dances.
Yeah. So when your daughters are doing something they love, as a parent, you just want to capture that and feed that. So I started taking photography seriously. The first few pictures I took, the first year or two, I would take pictures and I'm thinking, man, these are good. And then I went to a dance competition she was in, and they had professional photographers there, and they would take the photos and you'd see them on a screen and you can buy them. And I'm thinking, man, my pictures suck. so I started to talk to one of the photographers.
Photographers from coming in.
Oh,
I mean,
well,
did they kind of pull you aside? And
no,
say,
I just watched them as a dad.
Okay.
Just during the competitions, watched them as a dad. My camera was in the car, so I didn't take pictures, but I started to talk to one of the photographers and ask him about his gear and some of his lighting tips. So he spent a few minutes with me. So I had gone out and I had improved my gear and started getting a little more proficient of taking her photos, and eventually the Performing Arts High School she went to in Lakeland, which is Harrison School for the Arts, they saw some of my photos of Megan, and they asked me to do their photos for their dance, and then it morphed into their musical theater department. So for 16, 17 years, I've been the photographer for Harrison School for the Arts for their performance, and that has been a thrill.
That's been a good run.
It's been great. Just watching these kids perform what they love and being able to capture it, and then having the parents get a chance to see those photos or purchase those photos, and then the kids. Yeah, it's been a joy.
My experience with dance went through a little bit of a cycle where when they were young, it was amazing. They're cute. They're going different directions. And then they got good enough, but they weren't great. And I appreciated it because it was my daughter, and I enjoyed watching her and seeing her improve. And so I loved it from that perspective. But watching it all day with kids that are just kind of mediocre was painful. I mean, now she's in high school and all the kids are incredible and it's fun again. But there was this weird, I mean, I like the American Idol where everybody's, going in the wrong direction, all the blooper reels and
Yeah. When you're taking photos of kids and other people's kids, lots of bloopers. And I would take a picture. I don't think it's a great photo. And my wife would look at it and she says, nah, the feet are in the wrong position. The hands are in the wrong position. So delete. So get rid of that one. Yeah. So you learn technique by photographing it. And for me, my wife and my daughter, if I posted a picture and my daughter didn't like the position she was in, delete.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been there
So you
lots of times.
learned like that.
Dad, I can't believe you posted that.
Exactly.
Why don't you like babies?
Oh my gosh.
And not personally. I know you like
Yeah,
babies,
so
but you don't like
all right, so
taking photographs of babies.
In our conversation before recording the podcast, I had mentioned I like to take photos of everything except babies, and then I prefaced it, and then I followed it up, said except my grandbaby who's 4 months old. Now I love taking pictures of my grandbaby. I don't know. They just lay there. So,
the subject is boring.
Yeah, birds are flying, they're catching fish, they're eating, they're fighting. So a little more dynamic.
They
take instruction a little bit better than babies.
They do. Yeah, babies are they don't listen very well. I will tell you, that's kind of my philosophy with babies. It's that, once they start having a conversation and kind of are mobile, that's when they get fun. Otherwise they're just kind of cute and sometimes frustrating because you wish you could communicate with them.
Yeah, but I will tell you this. I'm glad I was not into photography when my kids were growing up, because had I been into photography, I think my focus would have been on just taking pictures of them instead of growing up with them and being with them and spending time with them. So
being in the moment.
Yeah, being in the moment. I've got obviously snapshots of the kids opening up Christmas presents and when we're on family vacations, but not for photography's sake, just for capturing the moment's sake. So I'm glad I did not start getting into photography until they were older.
In my intro, I had mentioned, you've received some awards. So, can you talk us through some of the competitions you've been in and some of those accolades and awards you've won?
I can. Probably the one I'm most proud of is representing Team United States in a PPA, which is Professional Photographer Association competition, and it was called the World Cup. And one of my photographs was chosen to represent Team United States against 36 other countries in the wildlife category. We went to Singapore where the competition was held. They had judging prior, so they had the top 10 for each category. There were 7 categories. So we went to Singapore, and during the ceremony, they named who was the top 10. And there was a bronze, a silver, and a gold medal given out for the top 3. And I won the bronze medal for Team United States in the World Cup, which was pretty exciting.
That's incredible. So what was the entry process like?
So it was my first time entering, actually. There's an international photo competition that PPA puts on once a year, and you can enter up to 4 images. And one of the photographs that I entered received a platinum award, which is the highest level. And then it moves to a second set of judging where a group from PPA chooses which photos they want to represent the United States in the World Cup, and my photograph was chosen. Then each country has a judge, so there's 36 countries, so there's 36 judges. So each judge votes on the top 10. So to come in the top 3 was quite astounding from judges from 36 different countries.
Yeah, absolutely. So, quite an honor. Congratulations.
So that was cool. And then the other part I'm proud of is MPI, Master Photographers International. In the past 3 years, I was named Nature Photography of the Year, 2 of those, and the third year, the middle year, was runner-up.
Very impressive.
So with that competition, they take the top scores from your 4 highest scoring images. And then those photos have a score from 1 to 100. And so twice Nature Photographer of the Year. And last year, missed the overall Photographer of the Year with all of the categories by about 3 points.
Ooh, that's so close.
So it's close, but
still quite the honor. But I know that
it was an honor. Yeah,
sure, certainly. Do you ever use your phone to take pictures?
Oh, all the time.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, phones are fantastic. The saying is the best camera you have is the one you have with you, and our phones are always with you. So yeah, I'm shooting with a Apple iPhone 16 now, but I shot with all of the different versions, and yeah, they're fantastic. The dynamic range, they have AI built into them, so they edit a lot of the photographic elements. They have great software in them. So no, I love shooting with my iPhone. In fact, I'll do some landscapes with my big camera. There's Cammie sitting back there, by the way. That's my fourth daughter.
Oh, Cammie.
Yeah,
we'll
Cammie.
get into Cammie.
So we'll talk about her. But I'll take a photo with my camera and then with my phone, and I'll look at my phone and I said, okay, this is much better.
Really interesting.
The software in it is just dynamic.
Well, I know Sansom at one point came under a little bit of scrutiny because they figured out when you would take a picture of the moon, it was actually AI. And it wasn't the actual picture because it's just, I don't know why the technology just isn't good at taking a picture of the moon. I'm sure that the distance, but.
So the photo that you saw from that phone was a superimposed moon that replaced the moon?
Yes. Yeah. They all looked alike. So did you choose the iPhone because of the picture quality, or you were just kind of locked in the iPhone?
I did. I was an early adopter of the iPhone, and I just stayed in that ecosystem.
It's hard to get out of that ecosystem. I don't know if a Samsung is any better in terms of the picture technology, but I've got a 16 too, and it's great. It does the job, and just moving is, they kind of have you captive. You have a unique style, and I don't know enough about photography, so forgive the question if it's ignorant, but like with anything, there are classical rules to follow. And I would imagine, there are those rules for photography too. Do you try to bend the rules to get kind of a unique image?
My first objection, Owen, is to get a sharp photograph. And to get a sharp photograph of a bird in flight, for example, you have to have a fast enough shutter speed. So the first setting on my camera I will look at for birds in flight is my shutter speed. If the bird is stationary, then I can go a little bit slower of a speed. But if I'm anticipating the bird to fly, I'll speed up my shutter speed to be able to capture a sharp image of that bird in flight. And then after I've caught some of those, then I'll intentionally slow up my shutter speed. So when I'm catching photos of the birds flying and I'm panning with the bird, then I'll be able to get a little more wing movement.
So you're adjusting kind of in real time. Is there in flight, you're pulling back the shutter speed?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, everything is basically just muscle movement at this point. It took a while to get there,
sure.
Knowing where the settings are. But now if you put me in a dark room and tell me to change my camera settings to certain settings, I could do that. I probably won't see the bird very well,
right.
But my camera settings will be correct.
All right, so let's talk about Cammie. Talk about
Cammie.
Talk about your baby.
Well, first off, my wife nicknamed her Cammie, and Cammie almost got me divorced.
Oh, all right. Spending too much time with Cammie?
Well, yeah, a little bit. Cammie is a third wheel. But no, quick story. We were on our 25th wedding anniversary, and we were at the Hilton on Clearwater Beach. And the sun was setting, so we decided to take a nice walk on the beach at the sunset. So I've got Cammie over my arm and holding my wife's hand, walking hand in hand, and the sun is just setting, and it's like beautiful clouds, the colors and the reflections. It's like perfect. And we're walking past this lifeguard shack, and there's a guy carrying his baby on his shoulder, and then there's like birds flying around. So I said, hang on a second, honey. I said, I got to grab this. So she says, what? I said, I got to get the scene. So I grabbed my camera. I knelt down. I'm composing the photograph, and I'm taking about 10 shots, and I look up, and she's like halfway down the beach.
Oh, she left you behind.
She kept on trucking. But I caught up to her.
Could have been much worse, that, Andy, if you stopped in like somebody in a bikini, scantily clad. Like, this is the perfect shot. Honey.
Yeah, that was Daytona. That's another story. But I finally caught up to her on the beach, and I showed her the picture. She forgave me.
Okay, good.
Yes, so all is well.
That's good.
So don't worry.
So how has Cammie evolved over time? What's why this one? How many have you had?
That might be Cammie version 6, I think.
All right.
So Cammie started out as a Canon 40D, which was a Canon 20D. The Canon 10D was the first digital camera. So I went from the 20D and then just kept moving on. Those were DSLRs, which are interesting.
Now, what's a DSLR?
So the first camera is 35 millimeters. You put your film in, you take your picture, you send them off to Walmart, you check the box that says you want duplicates because you know they're going to be great. You get the pictures and they're terrible. Right. So you throw them all out except for maybe one or two. And then digital cameras came out. No film. You click the button. You see the results on the back of your camera. If it's too dark or too light, you can adjust. If it's not sharp enough, you can speed up your shutter speed. So you see the photo after you take it.
Yeah, real time.
Yeah, almost real time. It's after the time. And then mirrorless came onto the scene. So mirrorless lets you see the photo before you take it. So when you're looking through the viewfinder or through the back screen on the camera, you can make adjustments, and how you see the image is what it'll look like when you click that button. So mirrorless is the latest and greatest. The next iteration might let you see the photo before you think about it. I don't know. That's, I guess, a job for AI. But the current camera is a Canon R3, which is a mirrorless, and I can't see replacing it because it does everything I think I would want a camera to do.
Fair enough.
Go out and travel for me and tell me when it's got the shot.
It does have a little bit of weight to it.
It does have some weight to it, yeah.
So you're not a film purist?
No, never really. I took photos with film, but again, I mentioned the Walgreens thing, but that was just snapshot stuff, but nothing serious.
Talk about the lens. That's a serious lens. Is that your go-to?
It is. That's my go-to wildlife lens. It's the 500 millimeter lens. So it gets me into the action. There's extenders I can put on it. There's a 1.4 extender, which would turn that into a 700 millimeter. And then there's a 2-time extender, which would double it. So that would take my 500 millimeter, and you're good at math, so that would make my focal length. Doubling it would take it to 1,000. So it'd be 1,000 millimeter. So it can get me into a scene. Sometimes it's too much, so I'll have to take off adapters. So just depends on the situation that I'm shooting, if I'm going to put an extender on or not.
Would you say, and I know this is kind of the classic question, so forgive the question, but is it the gear or is it the photographer's eye that's the key?
Both. I mean, I've taken pictures with my current gear that I could not have taken with my older gear. But then again, if I'm looking at photographs from my original camera and I'm looking at photos from my newest one, if I've kept the old photograph because it was well exposed and well composed and it was a good photograph, there's no way for me to tell. This camera will allow me to capture scenes with the high ISO, noise reduction in both the camera and external software that exists. But you have to have the eye. I've seen photographs of sharp birds and the composition is all wrong, the lighting is all wrong, the time of the day is all wrong, the background is all wrong. So you can have the best gear in the world and walk away with images that aren't worthy of keeping. When I head out to take photographs and I get back home, I'll take a couple of thousand of photographs and I'll download them to my computer. And my goal is to cull them down, eliminate as many as I possibly can. So my mindset is, okay, let's get rid of them. Let's get rid of the photographs. And when I get to a photograph that I cannot eliminate, that's the one I'll keep.
All right.
So I've learned what I like on a photograph mostly by looking at things what I don't like. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know in the moment, and I know you're just looking at the little screen, and I think you maybe just answered it by when you get home, you screen through all the pictures, but do you know that I just got this shot and this particular shot's going to be the one?
Yes. Yeah. There have been those moments. And then there's been moments where I've surprised I've not seen a photo because I've taken a burst mode, and it was in that burst that I was able to capture a scene that was in the perfect position of flight. But no, I have taken photographs specifically when I framed it up and I clicked the shutter. I knew, okay, this is going to be one of my favorite photographs. Yeah, I've done that.
What about one so good it gave you goosebumps in the
Yes,
moment?
I've had that too.
Yeah. Any one that comes to mind?
There's several that come to mind. I was hiking at Circle B in Lakeland, and there's a lot of photographers, and there's a lot of hikers in Circle B. Well, I was walking down this one path. It's called Marsh Rabbit Run, and a great blue heron was on the trail with a Florida green water snake just wrapped around his beak and wrapped around his neck.
Oh, wow.
And there was nobody else there.
That's a sight.
So I'm watching this scene, and it was just me and my camera, me and Cammie.
An intimate moment.
Yeah, it was very intimate. And I'm capturing some of these scenes, and in one particular moment, the heron's beak was pointed straight down, and the snake was just wrapped around it perfectly and around the neck. And when I snapped the frame, I knew that was great. But I stayed for the moment, and they battled for about 30 minutes.
Who won that battle?
It was a tie. So the heron, I've never seen a heron not finish a meal it's caught. And this particular time, the snake had such a stranglehold on the heron, would not let it go, and the heron just violently shaking his head and eventually slung the snake about 30 feet away and just let it slither away, and they both lived to tell the tale. Okay. So that was one.
That's a great story, too.
Yeah, it was fun. It was memorable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, is that your favorite, or do you have a favorite one that's in your gallery?
I think my favorite, Owen, is probably going to be a photo that I titled African Sunset. It was on a mission trip to Uganda, and the last 3 days of the trip was on a photo safari, animal safari in Murchison Falls National Park. And I've always loved giraffes, but if you see a giraffe in its wilderness, in his backyard, running freely, it just gives you goosebumps. Well, there was one scene. It was a morning sunrise safari, and there was this one giraffe that was particularly perfectly placed with the sunrise right behind him. And Florida has fantastic sunrises, but an African sunrise, wow, the colors just blow your mind. But in this particular case, the sun was just in full bloom. The giraffe was just standing there. He was whipping his tail, and I was able to snap the shot. And I looked at the camera, and I said, I'll keep that one. I won't delete that when I get home.
That sounds incredible.
So that was one.
I have pictures of Lion King in my mind to some degree.
Yes. You're not going to start singing, are you?
You don't want to hear me sing.
Okay, good.
What about, how do you get people to feel comfortable? I mean, any tricks?
You know what? Just talk to them and make them feel comfortable. People freeze up when you lift up a camera and hold a camera in front of them.
Yeah.
But if you just try to take candid photos and in the beginning say, look, these aren't going to count. We'll just take some photos. I'm going to set my camera, set my lighting, and just get some settings right. So you just hang out. You just be natural. Just sit there, just stand there and lean against this tree, do a somersault, whatever, whatever it takes to get them comfortable.
Go-to jokes.
Yeah. Just if the more they're relaxed, then the more natural the photos will be. And fortunately, a lot of the people that I take photographs afterwards, they say that you really captured the essence of who that person was.
That's amazing. That has to be the highest compliment.
Yeah, except babies. They don't say that.
But if they could, Andy, I'm sure they would tell you. You nailed my persona. Back to the babies. Do you find yourself distracted in those moments if you're having a conversation and just not necessarily in a photo shoot, but all of a sudden you think, I mean, kind of like your story of being on the beach, Clearwater Beach. Hold on. There's a picture right here.
Yeah, you got to train. I got to train my brain.
You shut that off.
I have to. On family vacations, I will tell my wife, okay, my focus is not going to be, and it's like a mantra. My focus is not on photos. My focus is not on photos. My focus is on my family. Back when we were talking about, I'm glad I didn't study photography when my kids were young, so I can focus on them. So if we're on a family vacation, focus on them. So I have to be able to turn that off just so I can be in the moment. And also when I'm just traveling with my wife, I also have to be in that moment and know I'm paying attention to her as well as the scene. There's a balance.
There is. Yeah.
So, and she understands that. She's fantastic.
Well, you've been married a long time. You figured it out.
37 years. Yeah. Well, she figured it out for me and told me what to do. So she'll tell me, yeah, go ahead and do that. Go off and do your thing. I'll stay over here while you're doing your thing.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Just kind of mutual respect.
Oh, it's fantastic.
That's great.
And when we hike together, she's my spotter. She'll bring binoculars and my eyesight is terrible. So she'll bring her binoculars, she'll spot things, and she'll say, I think that's a eagle over there. And I look up through my camera and say, yeah, sure enough it is. So we'll hike toward that area. Yeah, so she's my travel companion.
If someone would study your work, is there one detail in particular that you think is your unique signature?
Yeah, I think, and people have told me when they're looking at my photos, if they see a photograph, they can tell it's mine. I don't shoot with that in mind. It just seems to come out. But
it's your style. It's who you are.
Yeah. And your style just becomes it. It's not something you can say, okay, this is what I want my style to be. The style just comes from who you are. So I think my photographs are clean, minimal of distractions. You can tell what the focal point is. Your eye can go right toward that. I love lighting. I love moments, and I love to capture the moments in the best lighting. Doesn't always happen, but we can dream, can't we?
Yeah. Has your style evolved over time? I mean, I know, technique and refinement certainly has as you've gotten better, but what about your style?
No, I think my style has always been that. Once I figured out what I wanted to take photographs of, I think I've keyed in on having photos that are not distracting. When you're scrolling through Instagram or scrolling through different photo apps, it's easy just to scroll past. But when I'm scrolling through photographs and I can pause for a moment of other photographers, the first thing I'll ask myself is, why did I stop? Why did I pause? What made me spend 3 seconds on this or 5 seconds rather than just a split second on scrolling past? So I'll add that to my memory, and then I'll have that and say, okay, I remember why I stopped at that photograph. I want to capture something similar to that, not copying it, but just in the same type of feeling that it gave me.
What's unique, do you think, about just being a photographer in Tampa Bay, the landscape, what you're able to capture here?
There's so much water in the Tampa Bay, St. Pete area, Lakeland, Polk County. There's so much water. And if there's water, you're going to find some birds. And there's just no shortage of locations. I've gotten photographs in retention ponds in my subdivision. I've been able to get photographs on ponds on the side of the road in the Tampa area. ZooTampa is a treasure. If you love photographing animals, ZooTampa is the place to go. Everything's right there. And
are there any restrictions? Because I know they have the big aviary. Are you able to bring your?
No. I won't bring a 500 millimeter to ZooTampa. I may bring a 100 to 400 zoom. So I'll be able to get fairly close ups and get birds that are further away. Tripods, I have brought a monopod with me. I have not bought a tripod. It sometimes gets crowded, so you don't want to obstruct anybody's path. So I'll bring a monopod. It's got a smaller footprint. But yeah, ZooTampa is just a treasure of a place. You can camp out and shoot those the monkeys and
they have giraffes.
And they do have giraffes. A little different background, but they do have the giraffes. Yeah, but ZooTampa is a great place to go.
How do you say AI changing photography? We kind of had joked a little earlier about it telling you this is going to be a good shot.
Yeah, AI is revolutionizing editing. You can remove distractions with a click of a button. If there's wires in a scene, hundreds of wires and cables. You can literally click a button and make them all go away, which is good and bad, because you may go to a scene that you've seen photographed and you get there and you say, where did all this stuff come from?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't there in the photos I've seen. So AI almost makes it impossible to believe whatever you're seeing. So I don't know. It has its positives, but it also has its drawbacks, and it's going to prevent people from seeing what really exists.
Well, and what about just the absolute like fabrication? I mean, there are some pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, like
just completely fake pictures.
As I said, you don't know what's real or not. I posted a photo. Hulk Hogan passed away recently, so I posted a photo of me in Greece, and I went to an AI platform and I said, "Put a picture of Hulk Hogan in this picture," and it did, and I posted it jokingly on Facebook because so many of my friends were posting actual pictures of them with the Hulk. And everybody thought it was real.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, there's no way.
Yeah, I'm in Greece right now. He's dead.
And then after people are commenting, I posted another one with him in the same exact scene, and he was in a different area of the photograph. And I did that just, okay, now you know it's fake. But
no,
they didn't believe it.
No.
So, yeah. So nothing is real.
Is there any type of movement in the community to try to prevent fake pictures from or digitally stamped pictures in some way? That
there. If you post photos, there's a spot where you can click if it has been generated by AI, and there is going to be in some metadata for AI that will be able to be displayed that it is generated by AI. But it's dangerous. You can create anything by sitting at your computer, and it looks like that's where you were. You were there. You were at the Eiffel Tower. You were in Fort DeSoto with a reddish egret catching a fish, and it's not real.
Yeah, we used to just have the cardboard cutouts. Now you not even necessary.
Yeah, or painting.
Yeah. Anything else you want to share with the listeners, Andy?
No, other than thank you. This has been a great conversation. You do a wonderful. I've watched a number of your podcasts, and you just do a great job of having conversation with your guests, and I appreciate you and the opportunity to speak about this.
I appreciate the compliment, Andy. And
You're
if
welcome.
people want to connect with you or hire you, what's the best way they can do that?
Yeah, so my website is andyglogower.com, and Glogower is spelled G-Logo, W-E-R.
Well, Andy Glogower?
Glogower.com.
Thank you for joining us on Money Market.
You're welcome.com.
You can find the Money Market Podcast and the Bank of Tampa online, as well as on YouTube, LinkedIn, X, Facebook, and on Instagram. Before you leave, make sure you hit that like, follow, or subscribe button. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you around in the Money Market.